It may well be because of the importance and the power of the holy day of Yom Kippur that it is universally known that the Day of Atonement is for sins committed against God, what we call in Hebrew Ben Adam Lamakom. Only for that. At the same time, it's understood that before Yom Kippur, as a prelude to it, particularly and most importantly the 10 days leading up to it, that our human responsibility is to go up to people whom we have harmed and ask forgiveness from their lips. Only then, with that forgiveness in hand and in heart, do we come before HaKadosh Baruch Hu on Yom Kippur seeking God's forgiveness. How this is important relates to this week's Torah portion called Naso, where in chapter 5 we're told that a person commits certain foul acts against other people. What their responsibility is, we're told by the Torah, is to go up to those people whom they've harmed and make restitution, which makes sense. And then after that, their responsibility is to go and make a full confession before God about their wrongdoing. In a sense, we can't help but ask, why? Why do they need to bother make a confession before God when they've already made restitution and apologized to the person whom they've harmed? Why is this seemingly necessary? And many of the great sages address this issue, and there are some very powerful answers to this. One of the answers finds its place in the idea that God thinks, or God believes, that we have been created with the ability to be able to make distinctions in our life all the time between right and wrong. As a special gift to us, what God has empowered us with the ability to be able to not only distinguish between right and wrong, but also do right and wrong. And God asks us continually through the mitzvot, through all the dictates of the Torah, to make the right choice. And when we make the wrong choice, it is a form of theft. A theft from another human being in the instance where we hurt a person, but also at the same time a theft from God. That we've somehow misappropriated our humanity in a wrong direction, and we have to make good on it to God. Once we've made good to the person that we've harmed, then we need to go before God and make a verbal restitution. Thus and thus I've done, God. Why would it be necessary to make a verbal litany out of the wrongdoing that we've committed against a person to God? Maybe just because by verbally acknowledging it, we bring it out into the universe, and we allow not only God to hear our crime, God being God, God already knows, but we allow ourselves to hear ourselves confessing our crime before God, which somehow makes a soulful acknowledgement of what we have done wrong, and acknowledging the fact that we've made a double theft, as it were. A theft from humanity and a theft from God. And we've got our greatest shot at becoming Kodesh. We've got our greatest possibility at attaining the heights of what humanity is potentially capable of attaining. When we do wrong, we make right, and then we confess before God. And this is what prayer is all about as well. Prayer is always to be said out loud, before God, with our heart and our soul, pouring everything out we have before the Master of the universe. For when we render our thoughts into words, they become almost tangible to ourselves, to our soul, and therefore more real to us and ultimately to God. Shabbat Shalom.